There's something sacred about the silence right before the storm. That pause. When the air thickens, the sky darkens, and the world holds its breath. It's not chaos approaching. It's construction. Because not everything that shakes you is meant to destroy you. Sometimes it's meant to rebuild you stronger, sharper stripped of what you no longer need. We've been taught to fear the storm, to hide from discomfort, to run when the winds of life grow loud. But what if I told you the very thing you're running from is the thing you asked for? That the storm isn't punishment, it's preparation. You prayed for strength, so life sent resistance. You asked for clarity, so life took away the noise. You begged for purpose, and life brought pain to burn away everything that wasn't it. This is not the end of you. This is the making of you. So don't curse the storm. Study it. Don't just survive it. Stand up in the middle of it. Because when it passes, the version of you that emerges will be unshakable. And it all starts right here. There comes a moment in every life when the winds howl louder than your thoughts. When the sky turns black, not just above you, but inside you. When every step forward feels like dragging chains through a battlefield of doubt. And in that moment, when the storm crashes into your life, you are faced with a decision that defines everything. Will you break, or will you become unbreakable? Not because life got easier, not because the winds died down, but because you chose to rise in spite of it all. Because the storm isn't your punishment, it's your preparation. It's not there to bury you, it's there to reveal you. You don't discover who you are when the sun is shining and the seas are calm. You discover who you are when the lightning strikes, when the foundation shakes, when the world gives you every reason to quit and you refuse. This is where destiny is forged, not in comfort, but in conflict. Not in the safety of the shore, but in the fury of the waves. Look back through history. Greatness has always emerged from the fire. Edison failed 10,000 times before he lit up the world. Lincoln lost elections, buried children, endured breakdowns, and still freed a nation. Walt Disney was fired for lack of imagination. Ford went bankrupt 5 times. But they weren't broken by failure. They were built by it. Because the storm doesn't stop the worthy, it shapes them. It strengthens them. It selects them. You say you want to be successful. Then prepare for resistance. Because the world will not hand you your dream on a silver platter. It will test you to see if you're serious. It will strip away your comfort, your crutches, your excuses, until all that remains is raw, unfiltered desire. And that's the point. You must earn who you want to become. You must bleed for it, sweat for it, sacrifice for it. Because the version of you that can hold the life you want doesn't exist yet. They must be built, and the storm is your builder. Every struggle is a hammer. Every setback is a chisel. Every loss is shaping your foundation. But here's the part they never told you. The storm is not just out there, it's in here. Inside your mind, inside your beliefs, inside the war between who you are and who you could become. And until you win that war internally, you will keep running from every storm externally. You must stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start declaring, "This is happening for me." That shift is the beginning of power. Because when you understand that pain is not a prison, it is a passport. You stop playing victim to life and start partnering with it. You start walking through the fire not to survive, but to be refined. See, most people pray for peace, but what they need is pressure. Pressure reveals what you believe. It exposes every lie you've accepted, every limitation you've lived under, every chain you've called normal. That job you settled for storm. That relationship you cling to out of fear's storm. That version of you who talks big but plays small. Storm. But listen to me, you are not meant to avoid the storm, you are meant to master it. And not once, but daily. Every time you get up, when it's easier to stay down. Every time you speak truth when fear says shut up. Every time you show up with disciplined vision and fire. You declare to the world, I am not breakable. That's the mindset that separates the average from the unstoppable. Not talent, not luck, not who you know, but this. The ability to look adversity in the eye and say, I will not bow, because I know who I am becoming, because I know what I was born for, because I refuse to let temporary pain steal permanent purpose. The storm is here. Good, let it rage, because with every clap of thunder I grow clearer, with every flash of lightning I see further, and with every drop of rain I rise stronger. You can tell a lot about a person by what they tolerate, by the excuses they entertain, by how quickly they shrink themselves just to make others feel comfortable. But here's the unspoken truth. Your life is not waiting for approval. It's waiting for a standard. And the reason so many people stay small, the reason they keep reciting prayers that never turn into power, is because their actions don't match their requests. You pray for clarity, but live in chaos. You ask for opportunity, but run from responsibility. You want abundance, but still speak like you're broke in spirit. You want to lead, but you still move like someone waiting for permission. You cannot outpray the pattern of your life. You cannot keep asking for big while making tiny decisions. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your identity. And your identity is being broadcast with every move you make. So ask yourself, are you playing at the level your destiny requires? Or are you still auditioning for a role that was already written for you? Because here's what most will never admit. Greatness has nothing to do with potential. It has everything to do with permission. And not the kind you get from others. The kind you grant yourself when you finally say, no more shrinking. No more waiting. No more asking for less just to survive. That's the day you flip the script. That's the moment the prayer stops being words and starts becoming movement. Because a man who has truly decided doesn't ask for success like it's a favor. He commands it through consistency, clarity, and courage. He doesn't beg. He becomes. Think about David, a boy with a sling and a stone up against a giant with armor, strength, reputation. Logic said, stay small. Fear said, stay hidden. But faith, real faith, said, move. Because faith isn't sitting quietly and hoping for a miracle. Faith is stepping into the storm, knowing that if God brought you to the edge, He didn't do it just to show you the view. No, He brought you there to see who you'd become when there's no more room to play small. And that's the battlefield you keep avoiding. Not the world, not the critics, not the competition. It's the war between your potential and your patterns. You can't keep repeating yesterday and expecting tomorrow to look different. You can't keep blaming timing when the clock has always been in your hands. You can't keep praying for the next level when you're still negotiating with the habits of the last one. Your breakthrough will not come from comfort. It will come from discipline, from sacrifice, from making a decision and refusing to apologize for it. So stop asking for more while tolerating less. Stop dreaming of someday while wasting this day. Stop talking like a king while thinking like a servant of fear. The doors you want to open are not waiting for your wish. They're waiting for your walk. So move like it's already yours. Speak like the victory has already happened. Build like the world already believes in you. Because the truth is, the world is just waiting for you to believe it first. And if you still think playing small is noble, ask yourself this. Who suffers when you shrink? Who misses out when you hold back your gift? Whose life never changes because you were too humble to go all in? You think small protects you, but it imprisons you. You think it keeps you safe, but it slowly kills your fire. The moment you stop trying to blend in with the background is the moment the spotlight stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like your platform. So hear me clearly. You will never live the life you were called to live, while bowing to the life you were taught to settle for. And it starts with this decision. No more apologizing for ambition. No more shrinking to fit their comfort. No more waiting for proof. You are the proof. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is, you've been ready. The question is no longer what do you want? It's what are you finally willing to demand of yourself? Because until you raise your standard, your prayer will always feel unanswered. Not because the answer isn't coming, but because the version of you who asked isn't the version of you who can receive. There is a reason most people shrink in the face of greatness. It's not because they don't want it. It's because they never learned how to hold it. You see, small habits don't lead to big blessings. Small thinking doesn't magnetize massive opportunity. You don't plant seeds of fear and grow a harvest of abundance. That's not how the universe works. That's not how God works. And deep down, you already know this. We live in a world addicted to praying for more while preparing for less. People speak affirmations with trembling voices. They post quotes about abundance while making decisions from a place of lack. They ask for overflow, but live like misers. With their energy, their creativity, their effort. There's a divine contradiction in all of it, and you can feel it every time you look in the mirror and say, you want more, but everything about your life says, I'm still hiding. Let me be blunt. You cannot attract a life of expansion while practicing a lifestyle of retreat. You cannot expect a breakthrough while moving like a background character in your own story. It's not about arrogance. It's about alignment. You want the throne but won't wear the crown. You want the reward but won't run the race. You want divine favor, but refuse to walk in divine posture. This is where most people get stuck, not because they're unworthy, but because they've rehearsed smallness for so long it feels like home. But let me remind you of something sacred. God didn't design you to be timid. You were not sculpted in fear. The breath that animated your lungs came from a creator who carved oceans, ignited suns, and orchestrated galaxies. And you think that same breath was placed in you to play it safe. You were not made to fit in rooms that shrink your power. You were made to build the rooms, to shape them, to lead in them, to elevate them. That's why you feel friction every time you settle. That inner tightness, that discomfort, that's your destiny rejecting mediocrity. That's your soul whispering, we didn't come this far to stay small. And yet many stay anyway. They trade risk for routine, trade faith for familiarity. They build cages out of comfort and call them responsible lives. But understand this, God cannot multiply what you won't move. He can't elevate what you won't activate. And He won't bless what you continue to bury in fear. Look at the giants of history: Edison, who failed 10,000 times and still lit the world. Carnegie, who rose from poverty and built an empire. Oprah, rejected and ridiculed, who stood in her power anyway. None of them played small. None of them waited to feel ready. They moved with purpose, even when everything said pause. Because here's the truth. Boldness is the price of becoming. And every time you hesitate, you push your breakthrough one step further into the future. So what does this mean for you? It means the next level of your life will not arrive politely. It won't show up with an invitation. It must be claimed, chosen, seized. And that starts by killing the contradiction. No more praying for clarity while ignoring the call. No more asking for strength while nurturing weakness. No more begging for a stage while refusing to rehearse. You either become the person your dream requires, or you keep repeating the version of you that stays beneath it. It's binary. It's brutal. It's beautiful. Because when you finally make the decision to live aligned, when your actions match your ambitions, when your posture reflects your purpose, life begins to shift. Not all at once, not like magic, but like momentum. You wake up earlier. You speak bolder. You walk different. You stop asking for permission to exist. And suddenly the things you used to chase start chasing you. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you stopped sending the universe mixed signals. So I'll ask you again, who are you becoming right now? Are you still waiting for a breakthrough while protecting your limitations? Or are you finally ready to stop playing small and start moving like the storm you were born to be? Because heaven doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to hunger. And if your prayers aren't laced with action, if your belief isn't backed by boldness, then you're not praying, you're just talking. And the world doesn't change for talkers. It changes for builders, movers, doers, the ones who rise without applause, who step without certainty, who carry themselves like kings and queens before the crown ever arrives. The ones who stopped waiting for a sign and became the sign. You want to pray for big, then live big, because until your posture matches your promise, you'll keep living beneath the life that was meant for you. There comes a moment in every life where prayer must meet preparation, where vision must meet volume, where what you say you want must finally match what you are willing to endure. Because you can't fast your way to fortune if you're still feeding your fears. You can't whisper affirmations into a storm and expect the rain to stop unless you've built the ark before it began. You say you want the life, the impact, the wealth, the clarity, the peace. But do your habits prove it? Do your standards reflect it? Or do you keep bending them every time? Discomfort knocks. Let's be honest. Some people don't want success. They want to feel like they're working toward it, without doing what it actually requires. Because true success demands something most will never give: self-reconstruction. Not just routines, not just books, but a full dismantling of your excuses, your crutches, your identities that keep you small but comfortable. You can't keep praying for a throne while refusing to leave the cave. That's the part nobody tells you. You're not stuck because of your environment. You're stuck because you're loyal to a version of yourself that cannot carry your next level. Every time you lower your tone to match the room, every time you water down your power to be palatable, every time you choose comfort over courage, you're voting for small. And then you wonder why the big never comes. Because life doesn't deliver to your intentions. It delivers to your standards. You don't get what you ask for in moments of inspiration. You get what you tolerate in moments of fatigue. So here's the real question. What have you trained yourself to tolerate? Late starts, low energy, shaky commitments, constant distractions. You've rehearsed those more than you've rehearsed winning. You've perfected avoidance. You've memorized mediocrity. And now the system of your life, your habits, your relationships, your decisions reflect it back to you. Like a mirror. Because that's all results are. A mirror. And if what you see in that mirror makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is a gift. It's your invitation to rise. But let me tell you this, there is a storm that comes the moment you start playing big. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing it right. Big energy attracts resistance. Big vision demands pruning. You will lose things. You will lose people. You will lose pieces of yourself that only ever made sense in a smaller life. That's the cost. That's the tax on greatness. It's not just what you gain that matters, it's what you're willing to leave behind. You say you want clarity. Then stop over-explaining yourself to people who've never earned the right to advise you. You say you want purpose, then stop waking up without a plan. You say you want results, then stop romanticizing rest while your future is on fire. This is not the season for small moves. Not when your destiny is at stake. You think the world will hand it to you? No. The world doesn't move for wishes. It moves for certainty. And certainty isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. One early morning at a time. One deep focus session at a time. One no to distraction at a time. You don't wait for confidence. You earn it through repetition. You don't wait for breakthrough. You make it inevitable through execution. You don't wait for the door. You build the damn door, knock on it, and if it doesn't open, you break it down. Because when you finally step into that full, dangerous, undeniable version of yourself, the one you've glimpsed in your dreams, you won't be asking for permission anymore. You'll be too busy proving your prayer in motion. You'll realize that the miracle wasn't magic. It was movement. The big things were never blocked. They were just waiting for you to stop thinking like the version of you who plays small. So decide now. Are you going to keep adjusting your energy to fit the room? Or are you finally going to become the one who commands the room? Are you going to keep praying for things that require you to level up while staying committed to habits that keep you average? Or are you ready to let the gap close with sweat, with discipline, with strategy? Because if you are, then this is no longer about hope. This is about war. Not with others, but with the version of you who the version of you who talks big but moves small. The version who waits, who watches, who wonders if now is the time. Spoiler alert, it is. You keep asking the universe for more opportunity, more wealth, more favor, more open doors. But every day you show up as less. Your words whisper ambition, but your actions echo fear. You speak of greatness, but walk like someone who's still negotiating their worth. You ask for the mountain, while tiptoeing at the base, afraid to climb. And I need you to hear this. You are not being tested by life. You are being measured. Measured by your response to resistance. Measured by your willingness to move in uncertainty. Measured by your capacity to show up before you feel ready. Because the truth is, you will never be given what you're not prepared to manage. Success is not a lottery, it is an assignment. And until you become the person who can handle the weight of the assignment, the universe will keep you in training. You don't rise when it's easy. You rise when it's required. And this is that moment. Stop underestimating the power of one decision not made casually, but made completely. One decision that rewrites every morning. One commitment that no longer leaves room for doubt to negotiate your standards. The world doesn't change when you want it to. It changes when you do. You've been mistaking desire for discipline, hoping for overflow while protecting your comfort zone like a fortress. You want to experience abundance, but you're still clinging to the version of yourself who can't handle pressure. And that's the gap. The prayers go up. But the man who's supposed to receive the answer hasn't shown up yet. That man doesn't overthink. He acts. He doesn't scroll to escape. He builds to break through. He doesn't repeat affirmations without evidence. He creates evidence through relentless execution. Because when belief is married to action, the universe can't ignore you. There is no such thing as wasted effort when you're building from purpose. Every rep counts. Every quiet hour of work adds weight to your name. Every moment you say no to distraction is a deposit into your future. But let me make something very clear. You don't get to experience greatness with the schedule of the mediocre. You don't get the life of your dreams with the discipline of your past. You don't build an empire by protecting your excuses like they're sacred. You must stop praying for transformation while defending your limitations. Because the gaps in your life are not punishments. They are instructions. Your lack of clarity, that's a call to silence the noise. Your lack of results, that's not rejection. That's redirection. Your lack of momentum, that's your body calling out for rhythm, for structure, for standards. You are not being denied. You are being shaped. But shaping is uncomfortable. It breaks you open. It strips the old stories, the false identities, the narratives of "I'm not ready" and "maybe next time." The fire that burns your comfort is the same fire that forges your future. So stand in it, with your shoulders squared and your mind made up. The universe is not listening to your intentions. It is responding to your patterns. Because what you repeat, you become. What you tolerate, you endorse. And what you avoid controls you. So what are you repeating right now? Are you repeating self-doubt under the mask of humility? Are you repeating procrastination while telling yourself you're planning? Are you repeating delay disguised as patience? Be honest, because the truth will set you free, but it will wreck you first. It will confront your excuses like a mirror that can't be turned away. It will force you to admit that you have been asking for abundance with the work ethic of survival. You want the world to notice you, then become undeniable. Not loud, not flashy, undeniable. Through consistency, through standards, through inner gravity that pulls success toward you because of who you are, not what you say. You don't need another prayer. You need a vow, a sacred agreement with your higher self. I will no longer play small. I will no longer betray my calling. I will no longer beg for doors I was meant to build. Because the life you want is not ahead of you, it's within you. But it will not emerge until you destroy the version of yourself that's been delaying the mission. And hear me on this. You don't need a sign. You are the sign. You don't need permission. You are the permission. You don't need the world to believe in you. The world needs you to believe in yourself so deeply, so relentlessly, so loudly in silence, that everything around you begins to shift in response. You don't need the spotlight. You need the discipline to earn it. And that begins now, not when the timing feels perfect, not when you feel motivated. Now while it's messy, now while it's uncertain, now while the old version of you begs for one more day of playing small. This is your line in the sand, and you don't cross it with hope. You cross it with fire. So here's the paradox of every underdog story that ever rose to greatness. They started from less, but they expected more. Not from the world, from themselves. See, the moment you start expecting the world to hand you what you haven't built the capacity to carry, is the moment you've already disqualified yourself from receiving it. You're not waiting on favor. You're not waiting on alignment. You're not even waiting on your dream. Your dream is waiting on you to grow into the kind of person who doesn't just want it, but can handle it. Because life does not give you what you want. It reveals what you are truly prepared for. You want to run a company, but can you govern your emotions? You want millions, but can you manage your mornings? You want to impact nations, but can't even lead yourself out of bed when the alarm rings. Let that sink in. The scale of your results will always match the scale of your self-leadership. And until you stop outsourcing your outcomes to chance timing or someone else's permission, you will remain where you are. This is where people get stuck. They confuse hope with preparation. They confuse praying for more with preparing for more. But listen closely. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to demonstration. You demonstrate faith through discipline. You demonstrate belief through behavior. You demonstrate worth through the energy you bring to every moment, every morning, every decision, whether the spotlight is on or not. Because that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. One hopes, the other becomes. And becoming is not a passive process. You have to outgrow the smaller version of yourself. You have to let it hurt, let it stretch, let it break the parts of you that are still addicted to average. That version of you who hides behind distractions. That version of you who settles for good enough. That version of you who plays it safe, hoping that somehow, someday, life will just hand you your destiny. It won't. It never has. And the ones who rise, they know that. So they stop negotiating, they stop waiting, and they build brick by disciplined brick, a version of themselves the world can't ignore. Because when the calling is big, your container must expand. And make no mistake, playing small is not humility. It's fear, dressed in politeness. You weren't built to blend in. You weren't designed to dim your light so that others don't feel uncomfortable. You weren't sent here to watch life like it's a movie someone else is starring in. No, you were built to create, to construct, to command, but only when you finally believe that the bigness you pray for isn't waiting out there. It's waiting inside you, dormant, untrained, undisciplined, but real. And it won't activate until you stop playing small. So here's the truth you've been avoiding. The dream will not meet you where you are. It will only meet you where you're willing to go. That means everything that is still small inside you. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you compromise with laziness, the way you make excuses for your inconsistency. All of it must be confronted, because no prayer can cover up a pattern you refuse to change. No faith can override a frequency you keep lowering through your habits. No future can be forged if you keep recycling the past like it's sacred. The world will not hand you greatness because you want it. It will test you first. It will strip you of your comfort, stretch your standards, confront your excuses. And the question isn't, will it be hard? The question is, will you stay small because it's easier? Because if you do, you can keep praying, but the doors won't open. Because the locks were never broken. They were just waiting on you to grow into the person who holds the key. You were not born to tiptoe around your potential. You were not designed to whisper when your destiny demands you roar. Look around you. Everything that ever changed the world was once just a decision, a single spark, a moment when someone dared to believe that their life could become more than survival, more than safety, more than small. But belief alone isn't the blueprint. Belief is the fire starter. It's what gets you off your knees. What keeps you going is work. Unapologetic, unrelenting work. The type of work that reshapes your nervous system. The type of work that doesn't care if you're tired, scared, or uninspired. Because here's the law no one wants to admit: you will always be paid in proportion to your value, not your effort. Let that land. This is why playing small is not just self-sabotage, it's spiritual theft. You are robbing the world of the force you were meant to be. You are praying for things your character hasn't earned yet. You are begging for blessings with a blueprint that cannot sustain them. And life is too wise to reward that. You say you're ready for the next level. But have you prepared a version of you who can handle it? Everyone wants the throne. Few want the weight of the crown. You want influence, but are you strong enough to stay grounded when the spotlight finds you? You want abundance, but have you built the systems to carry it without leaking everything through laziness, insecurity, or chaos? You want the freedom, but have you earned the self-mastery that makes freedom sustainable? See, praying for big while playing small isn't just a mismatch, it's a contradiction of vibration. It's asking the universe to send you rain while you're still planting weeds. And nature doesn't respond to words, it responds to alignment. Your energy must become the signal. Your actions must become the proof that you are no longer asking for greatness. You are moving as someone who already knows it's yours and is willing to bleed for it. Ask the legends, the titans, the builders. Henry Ford didn't wait for permission to invent. He created on credit the credit of his own belief. While others waited for validation, he built with vision. He didn't pray to become a man of industry, he became one through pressure, persistence, and precision. Do you understand the future doesn't belong to the one who wishes the loudest? It belongs to the one who works the longest in silence. And I'll say this again, because someone needs to feel it in their bones: you will never receive what you have not become. Not what you want, not what you think about, what you are. Your identity is the thermostat. Your results can't rise beyond the level of your self-concept. So if you're still shrinking, still doubting, still tucking in your edges to fit into someone else's comfort zone, don't be surprised when your life mirrors that shape. You must become bigger before the blessings arrive. You must create space for the things you claim you're ready for. You must make your standards heavier than your cravings, your rituals more powerful than your emotions, and your silence more productive than your noise. This is how you grow past the waiting room of life and into the boardroom of destiny. But understand this, your past identity is not going to leave quietly. It will bargain. It will seduce. It will remind you of how comfortable it was to be invisible, how easy it was to be average. It will whisper nostalgia in the middle of your elevation. But don't fall for it. That voice isn't truth. It's just the echo of a version of you that's dying. Let it die. Let the old routines, the old excuses, the old distractions, and the old insecurities burn at the altar of your next level. Because if you keep watering the weeds of comfort, they will choke out every seed of greatness you try to plant. You weren't given a dream to decorate your journal. You were given a dream to rebuild the world. So stop asking for more until you're willing to become more. Stop begging for favor while clinging to fear. Stop hoping for miracles while resisting motion. God doesn't bless the small version of you, He blesses the one you choose to become when no one's watching. You want big, then walk big, move big, speak big, sacrifice big. Become so aligned with the life you're asking for that the universe has no choice but to give it a seat at your table. Because when you stop playing small, when you burn the exit strategy, kill the hesitation, and multiply the standard, the life you've been praying for finally knows where to find you. And that is where we pick up in the final part. So maybe the winds are still howling, maybe the sky hasn't cleared just yet, but look at you, still breathing, still standing, not because it was easy, but because something in you refused to fold. Understand this: storms don't show up in the lives of the weak. They find their way to those strong enough to carry something greater on the other side. So if it feels heavy, it's because your calling is. This storm, it wasn't meant to punish you. It was sent to promote you, not to destroy your peace, but to destroy your limits. So don't just survive it. Study it. Stand in it. Stretch in it. Because when it passes, and it will, the world will meet a version of you that couldn't have been forged in calm, only in fire. And if this message stirred something in your soul, don't let it fade when the screen goes dark. Hit subscribe, not just to follow us, but to follow through on the version of you this storm came to build. The rain may fall, but your rise is already written. Let's walk through it together.